In recent months, in spite of lockdown, conservation-minded land managers continue to volunteer their own time and resources to look after wildlife in our uplands. James Mawle runs Coverhead Farm in the Yorkshire Dales. His passion is the red-listed black grouse. In 1998 there were only 773 males left in England, but thanks to a conservation project involving land managers on a landscape scale and joint led by the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust, the decline was reversed. The male bird's mating display, known as a lek, remains one of Britain's rarest and most extraordinary wildlife spectacles.
Can you hear him lekking in there?
I can hear something.
Yeah, that's a black grouse displaying to a grey hen.
Usually leks are located on the moors, but this one in 2020 is different. It's in the middle of the road.
We got some black grouse just over the rise, and they're lekking, which is males together displaying, and they're on the road because the road is so quiet because of coronavirus that it's a really nice flat area for them to display on, and so that's what they're doing. Yeah, black grouse are funny birds. The grey hens, the females, will disperse a long way looking for males, but the males don't go very far. So you can have areas of good population growth, but they don't spread out. When a small number were let out in the south, in this area, they didn't just sort of lek immediately. At low densities, they flew a long way looking for females. But as the density rises, suddenly they're starting to form these clusters and leks, and the females are coming to those leks. And this is, I thought it was going to happen this year, and it has. And we have our first lek this year. They bred on here, but the original males, to get it going, came from the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust, where they relocated black grouse from the North Pennines into the southern Dales to re-establish the population of black grouse on site.
The GWCT translocation programme involved moving male black grouse to selected sites on the edge of their range. The project is part of a larger effort on the part of grouse moor managers to conserve the species. Today, 96% of the remaining black grouse in England live on and around driven grouse moors. This is because they provide both the habitat the birds need and relief from predation. Black grouse are naturally birds of the moorland fringe, liking both the heather and berries on the top of the moor and the meadows and sheltering trees on its slopes. The hard work put in by gamekeepers to control predators and manage this unique habitat enables black grouse to breed successfully.
Last year, on the 1,000 metres of road that way, we had 3 broods. One had a 2, one had an 8, and one had a 9. So there is absolutely no problems with them breeding with good numbers if the habitat's right. Looking at this piece of bank here, I can see that we've got the primroses, we've got meadow vetchling coming there, or maybe horseshoe vetch. We've got a little potentilla. We've got, I think it is, we've got meadow sweet. We've got plantains. So we've got a wide range of flowering plants here, and they will support the insects that the chicks need. But we only get this through farming it in the proper way, and the way we farm it is with cattle, a mix of cattle and sheep in the right proportions. A sheep has a very similar diet to a game bird in that they want a small amount of the very best stuff. Cattle are different in that they're a volume feeder, so they're not too worried. They've got a very big mouth, so they can't pick very much anyway, so they can get away with a lot of poor quality forage. And what that means is that every plant gets a go.
James is also correcting decades of bad government policy that led to flooding in places like York. At Coverhead, they've been filling in drains on the moor and rewinding the river to slow the flow.
If a river up here is pushing the water off as quickly as possible, York floods. We are trying to do some work to improve it and to hold the water up. After the war, there was a big push to increase food production, and as part of that, the government encouraged farmers to drain the moors with moorland grips. This certainly got rid of the water a lot quicker, but it did lots of damage to the river.
James is passionate about moor management, understanding completely that whatever happens on his land affects everyone downstream. The first black grouse lek for many years at Coverhead is a great example of how, given the right kind of funding, advice and freedom to get the job done, as well as producing food, land managers like James can achieve real conservation success stories.